Good afternoon, dear friends. This is Sahara. I'm going to be giving you some of the videos that are submitted on my Facebook page, and I think you'll find it interesting. We find that we all communicate. It's very natural to communicate telepathically, and many times when a thought or vision pops into your head, uh, it's natural. And is based on the hundredth monkey principle, and that is was proven in 1952 when some Japanese scientists went to an island full of snow monkeys. They put sweet potatoes in the sand. Now the monkeys loved this, but they didn't like the sand on it. It took them 4 years to learn to wash their potatoes off in the water. Well, overnight, when a certain percent of the population, they call it 99% of the population, got this idea, the other monkeys on other islands got it overnight. It was this was communicated telepathically, and this is how we communicate. And we're coming into a new age of we have many ages, and it's very well demarcated by the Yuga light cycles, Y-U-G-A. We're coming into a new Yuga cycle, which means the dark ages of fear and religious repression are coming to an end. And you can see from the 1900s on, you can see an insane increase in uh, intellectual and spiritual development. And that's because we are in a new age, and the age of fear is diminishing. The Hindus believe this, and so do I, that we don't always think independently. We have little thought balloons. If you think about a mass population, putting a thought balloon up in the air and have a communal sharing, and whenever you tune into a certain level, you more or less send an antenna up to that level. Think about all the television and radio interceptions. You send a antenna up to whatever level you are at, and you will receive that information. Now, is this good or bad? It can be um, sometimes detrimental if a certain percent of the population around you is dumbed down by a lot of less evolved ideas. You can pick up on that too. And this has been proven by our current administration, unfortunately. But it also can lend to the greatest growth in history, at least recent in history, because we've moved into the new Dryapura age, and out of the Kali Yuga age is truly the age of Aquarius, and we're enjoying that. And we're going to start, as we progress into this age, we will start communicating telepathically. And you've had instances of that happen in the past. It's natural. Angels, aliens, spirits, spirit guides communicate non-verbally, and we're starting to do it too. And on my Facebook page, I share different prophecies or visions and dreams. The one that was kind of cute, offered by Claire, one of the online predictors, that in this is last year, she and I both saw air travel changing drastically. This wasn't by a new big plane or a plane that takes off and lands differently or rockets, but it was something different. We both knew it, but we knew it was going to be so different that it would be hard to describe. And just recently, in the last month, Uber and other um, companies, some in Switzerland, have come up with airplanes with no pilots. And this was a surprise because we kept seeing this change. And when I hopped into my vision, I was sitting in a plane, but it was so different. It looked like I felt like I was on something like a small Learjet, but it was traveling differently and smoothly. I couldn't explain the feeling, almost without sound. And they came out with this new plane that can fly without pilots or flight crews. It can also have little tiny hubs in convenient locations, so there's no central gigantic airport. As some people can say, if a lot the way you order Uber or other companies, and you can all go to a very local area. It's a field, really, and get on a plane, and off you go and share the air. And there won't be any flight crew. Can you imagine how inexpensive that will be? No pilot, no flight crew, no flight attendants. Now, personally, being old-fashioned, I am very happy with a pilot and a flight attendant to bring me hors d'oeuvres. No peanuts. Thank you very much. But perhaps I'm old-fashioned. Yeah, so, and you have to imagine air travel by the traveling public didn't happen till like the 1940s. That's not so far away, you guys. So, it's just really like yesterday. So this was something we both saw, and this is coming up, and I'll bring you some more of the predictions. One of the predictions is Trump will be almost out of the White House by September. Uh, I have seen. I taught this method in one of my YouTubes. It's very simple. It's not hokey pokey, but it's how to see in the immediate future. I got that from a near-death experience I had in the early 70s, 1970s. And I thought, well, let me just visualize that view I saw once. I was up above the Earth's stratosphere, and I knew that there was a point where if I went past it, it would be outside of not only the Earth's orbit and stratosphere, but it would be into a different dimension. Oddly, I knew exactly where I wanted to go. That is what amazes people when they have these experiences, just like they've always done it. I will tell you, in the near-death experience, you communicate telepathically. Also, when you think, you go where you automatically want to go. There's no air, but you're very comfortable. No temperature, but you're very comfortable. All of your physical wants and needs, such as breathing. Breathing is pretty nice when you're down here on Earth. Food, temperature, we need these things in the physical body. So I automatically knew what and where I wanted to go at that moment in time before I got sent back. So when I visualized being in the outer stratospheres, and anybody can do it, I did several YouTubes on how to do it yourself. I asked, I go up, and then I asked to come back down again slowly. And when I come down, I come into this current time, and I came down on the White House lawn, and it was fall. I remember walking around, and the leaves were crunching under my feet. I knew it was fall of 2018, and I knew that an uprising, a gentle uprising, had occurred, and the stock market crashed. I had several predictions like that around at that time. And whether Trump would actually physically be gone, that's always been a big question with psychics and astrologers. His always He's always got the door open. He's always about to be booted out, but he stays there. He's the ultimate Teflon president. But his administration is over. It'll be limping along pathetically, whether he's there or not. And that is precisely at the fall of this year. So stock market woes. Exactly. I heard a voice that said it will be like 2008, and that was when the real estate crisis kicked in. And so I do say to my clients and friends, anything you would have done had you had foreknowledge financially, do it now. Just pretend like it's right before the crash in 2008. And just do that now. Think about your real estate or your money or where you want to live. What would you change if you only when you think if only you had known. If only I had known. Well, now you know, because it will happen. And will we go on? Yes, we will. So expect stock market changes. The problem is, will Trump be physically in the White House or be physically gone? Or will he limp along with a broken administration and we have to wait for midterms and to kick in to start changing things a little sooner? But he's essentially a lame duck from now on, in or out, and that's not very newsworthy. Except it's kind of expected. Except do what you would have done with your finances. These things were collaborated on my Facebook site, and it's interesting. That's where the 100th monkey kicks in. When a universal thought takes mass consciousness takes formation, and more people tune into it, then it occurs. And so we are on that. And the higher up you go in your vibration, the better of reception you will get. We don't live in an isolated environment. Here's something kind of interesting. In the middle of a dream or vision, dreams and visions can come together, and they're always a surprise. They pop in at any time. That's what makes life interesting. So I'm picking up on something, even perhaps higher guidance from my spirit guides. But I saw, of all things, Michael Jackson, and I was told the reason he died like he did. He was once a pharaoh, a long time ago. I'll say like over 3,000 years ago. In the pyramids, the way they initiated pharaohs, they wanted the pharaohs to be wise, and they knew about if you had a near-death experience, and they wanted to invoke that type of wisdom with the pharaohs. So they would lie in something that looked like an open coffin, and you've seen pictures of them. They're just kind of a stone trough, and you lie in it, and they put a big slab on top of it, and the pharaoh gets to lie there and wait for that vision. Well, when you stop breathing, you leave your body, and when you leave your body, you get the great near-death experience. The problem was they began losing too many pharaohs. The thing is, when you stop breathing, you're dead, and when they take the slab off, you get that shot of air, and you come back taking a deep breath. I should know. That's what happened to me in my near-death experience. And I was told that Michael remembered that, and he wanted to recreate that. He didn't understand why he had that memory of being in that state, and he kept trying to um, well, recreate it. So he would get this heavy-duty drug. I don't know what it was, but it was administered intravenously, and he got too much and he died. That's, I guess, he got what he wanted in a way, the ultimate near-death experience, except he got the death experience. Another thing was Michael was not particularly a transgender. He had, most certainly, he was striving towards some goal, but he was transracial. If you can imagine that, we live in a world where we can fulfill our inner desires, whether we want to um, change gender. He wanted to change gender and change race, transracial. I've never heard that word before, but it doesn't sound like he had that he didn't really understand what he was looking for. And I feel like the whole experience of remembering this other life, and he kept wanting to recreate it, including his looks. And if you look at his face, what he ended up with, and with all the plastic surgery, he was a work in progress, and that's what he wanted to achieve. So I thought that was kind of interesting part of the visions I get in my dreams. I love this picture of the Sphinx with the Sphinx and the pyramid behind it. The Egyptians were trying to do something, knowing that we're about to enter the Kali Yuga era, and they were trying to make a battery for worldwide light to keep us from the Kali Yuga stage. This was around 3000 BC, but it only worked so far, and we entered the Kali Yuga age of extreme darkness, and well, it's pretty evil. We hit our lowest point in around 500 AD, and with superstition and fear, we lost all of our higher knowledge, which we once had, and that's what Michael remembered. So Michael knew that we had left an enlightened age. We are about to re-enter that enlightened age again in the Dwapara Yuga age. And we've left the dark ages of Kali Yuga. And one of the ways to advance spiritually in your knowledge, it was about Yogananda and the lesson he gave to his disciples. I will share with you Yogananda's teaching in 1998. I had a dream. It was an outer body experience. I found myself flying literally through the air. When you're in a NDE, you don't have a feeling of air or wind or those kinds of things. But this was, I felt like I was flying through the air. You could feel the air going by. On each side of me, I had a guide. And I went also looking through all kinds of pictures to try to find a picture of this guide. He looked very much like an older Johnny Carson with a big smile, and I've seen this guy before, and I just call him Walter. And I have Walter 1 and Walter 2 on each side, and I'm flying. I could feel the wind, and it's wonderful. It's very much like Peter Pan and the Lost Boys and Wendy, and I'm thrilled. And we were swooped down into we could see the top of a beauty parlor. Inside there were people having a disagreement. Several female beauticians and one male beautician. I was the man beautician, and I was we're having a spat over something. And it's a very heated argument, and it happens among people. I and well, first of all, I'm out of my body with my guides. My guides said, "Look down." Now they said, as you begin to view it, you will get closer and closer until you become the scene. You become the picture. You become the action. And I looked and looked, and I listened to the people arguing, and before I knew it, I was the male in the altercation. And it was people accusing people of things. This is normal human behavior. And the next thing I knew, I felt very into the heat of the moment. The next thing I knew, it's like I was picked up by the scruff of my neck, and I was back with my guides, one on each side, and they said, do you see how easy you can get sucked into the reality around you? It is the drama of life. Well, they told me, they gave me an assignment. I was to go to an engaging movie. Not a boring movie, but something that you're caught in the action of the moment. You are not in your movie chair. You are in the middle of the drama that plays out. You become the people in the movie. And they said, next time you go to a great movie and you're caught up in the action, in the thrill, remember that you are in the movie theater, in the seat. And remember that you are not the people on the stage in the movie. And off I went to go to the movies, and I tried a very exciting action adventure with Meryl Streep. It was a river movie where she was in a fight for her life on a wild river, whitewater adventure. Well, I got caught into it. I couldn't remember that I was the person in the seat. I was in the water, the white water, and I failed. I've tried several times. I can't do it. That is a drama of life. If you can go watch an engaging movie, you will have passed. Oh, how does Yogananda fit into this? There is, I'll post it in the comment section below. There is a recording of Yogananda explaining, and I heard this recording last year in 2017, a recording of Yogananda saying, your assignment is to go to the movie theater, and can you separate yourself from the characters? And this is one of really important part of his teaching. He would actually take his students to a movie theater. Here in Escondido, as a matter of fact, it's a tiny little movie theater. And as soon as they were in the middle of the action, they had black and white then, but they still had good movies. He would tap them on the shoulder and say, remember who you are. Remember who you are. He would let them get into it again, and he would tap them on the shoulder and say, remember who you are. That was Yogananda's teaching. Well, apparently I had it in 1978. Now, then I was in 2017 getting the same lesson. Somebody's tapping me on the shoulder. Remember who you are. Let that be a project for you. If you could pass that test, you've reached avatar stage where you can separate yourself from the drama of life. And remember, I will post the Yogananda's instructions down below. It's very interesting, a little hard to understand because of his accent. Let's move on to some other things that have come up on my Facebook page and my dreams.